everyone, so today I am out with both dogs actually, but Tia is going to be going in the car very shortly, and Ivy and I are going to continue working on our directional cues, but this session we're going to focus on her back cues. So let's give it a go and see how we get on. So I started out this session using food, so what you'll see me do is I will sit Ivy up about 10 paces away from my white marker post. I then go and place some food by the marker post, and I do that really obviously so she can see me put something down, so she knows that there's something worth going back for. And then I walk out in front of her, again I'm about 10 paces in front, and then I cast her back. Now I have been trying to teach Ivy 2 different back casts, and the difference between them is which hand I use to push her back with, and depending on what hand I use will depend on what shoulder I want her to turn around on. So to help with this, you'll see to start with I walk out in front and then I take one step out to my left, and then I push her back with my left hand, and when doing that I want her to turn over her right shoulder. She did in that instance, ran out and got the food and then comes back, so that works really well. And then what you'll see is that I'll repeat exactly the same thing on the other side. So I will sit her up, go and place the food out, come out in front, and then I take a step out to my right side and I push her back with my right arm. And in doing that, I want her to turn over her left shoulder as she's facing me. If you're just starting out with this, you can take a few more steps to the side to help encourage them to turn the right way, and you can also angle the dog so that the way they're sitting isn't directly facing towards you, so they're going to be turning less than 180 degrees in order to go back towards the item or the piece of food. And then you just gradually work on fading those aspects out until you can get it so that you are stood directly in front of your dog, and just depending on which hand you use to push them back dictates which shoulder they then turn on. And because both of those worked well, we now go to set up exactly the same thing, but this time I don't take a step out to the side, so she's just going based on which hand I'm pushing her back with. The reason I choose to teach the 2 different back casts is because I think it helps me to set Ivy up for success. So depending on the situation, I might want to turn her over a particular shoulder because of the wind direction, and if she turns that way it might get her on the right side of the wind so that she can wind the retrieve and be more efficient in picking that item and bringing it back. But also, if you've got distractions about, it can help make the retrieve easier. So if I've got a distraction out to Ivy's left and it's quite close to her, and I want to actually send her for the item that's behind her, I probably want to turn her over her right shoulder so that she doesn't come face to face with the tempting distraction. That's going to make it a lot easier for her to complete a successful retrieve than it would be if she turned over her left shoulder and came face to face with the distraction. So that's why I think it can help just make training a little bit easier for the dog. So we had a couple of successful repetitions there, and you'll notice that I gradually started to increase how far away I was from her when I was sending her, to slightly increase the difficulty levels, but there was no major jumps in distance, so it was nice and gradual for her. But now we're moving on to using retrieves to help practice. So you'll see there that I've thrown out 2 retrieves. I kept them about 10 yards apart from each other, and then I sat Ivy up so she was about 15 yards away from the first dummy, so she's going to have to do a 15 yard and then a 25 yard back retrieve. I then walk out in front, I blow my stop, and this time I cast her back, but she is not giving me her full attention when I do, and as you'll see we don't get success, and you'll see she puts her nose down. And if I'd thought about it, she was sat up there in the exact same spot that I had previously been putting food down for her to eat as part of the last exercise. So if I was redoing this, I would have set ourselves up in a new location so that that distraction wasn't there. But we set up the exercise again. I make sure I had her focus before I then cast her back, and you'll see there that we got success, so that's nice. Then we set her up again in the same spot, but this time casting her back for the second retrieve, so this will be a longer retrieve for her to pick. It's always interesting watching myself back on videos, and I would recommend that anybody video their training because it is really useful, but I do have to wonder what my thought process is sometimes. So here I've sat her up, but you will see that she is angled very much towards my left as I'm facing her. And so what I probably should have done is just gone back and sat her up so that she was sat straight, but instead I decided to take a couple of steps out to my right and then push her back with my right arm. She got it right and she turned over her left shoulder. So adapting the exercise in the way that I did there enabled her to get success. But just a strange way of doing it really. But the reason I wanted her to turn over her right shoulder in that instance was because the wind was coming left to right across the screen, so it was hitting my left cheek essentially. So what I wanted her to do was to approach the dummy slightly on the right hand side so that she would wind it if she didn't spot it. So then I just repeated the exercise again, so we've got the two dummies out staggered at a distance from her. On this occasion her pickup is a bit messy and she starts returning, but there's a bit of a detour out towards my left, so I just blow my recall whistle to reinforce the straight back return, which seems to work. And then we continue the exercise to pick that second dummy. And with this second lot of retrieves, I've also started to increase the distance that I am from her when I'm sending her. So again, just increasing one of those difficulty factors nice and gradually so we still get success, but we continue to progress our training on. But 2 successful back casts there, so then we had a little play and called it a day. As always, if you have any tips or any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comments below, but if not, thanks for watching.